My name is Nurfatina Juha binti Indra Putra, and my number metric is B0625101113. Today, we'll be sharing our study on one population proportion test due through the concept, formula, calculation, and also final conclusion. So please pay attention, please calm down, and let's begin.
So today, we want to present about one population proportion test for internet access rate. So the introduction is, a researcher wants to check whether the internet access rate in a rural district is the same as the national rate in Malaysia, which is 97.1%. So the researcher selected 400 households and 380 households have internet access. So, what is proportion? Proportion means the percentage or part of a group that has a certain characteristic. So, when to use one population proportion test? Use this test when comparing one sample proportion with a non-population proportion. So, the second is, data is yes or no. For example, internet access, yes or no. And the last is want to check if there is a difference in a proportion. So, for the example situation is internet access rate in a rural area versus national rate which is 97.1%.
Good day to Dr. Fam. My name is Alina Napukanadasan. Today I would like to explain about hypothesis and formula. There are two types of hypothesis, which is null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. It means null hypothesis means takes an exact same value and the symbol is H null. For the alternative, it takes a value in interval. The symbol is H1. Next, formula for one population proportion, which is Z equal to P minus proportion divided by square root proportion in bracket 1 minus proportion divided by N. The assumption is proportion is known and the N is unknown. So this is the formal statistical setup for this two-tailed test, which is the based on the case study, which is H null is proportion equals to 0.971 and H1 is proportion not equal to 0.971. So use the formula, the information in the formula. So based on the case study, the sample size is 400, which is the small n. The number of success, which is the x, is 380. The sample proportion is p hat equals to x divided by n, which is the 380 divided by 400 and equals to 0.95 or 95%. So z equals to p hat equals to proportion divided by square root proportion in bracket 1 minus proportion divided by n. So how to substitute? Z equals to 0.95 minus 0.971 divided by square root 0.971 in bracket 1 minus 0.971 divided by 400 and you will get the answer.
Good evening and hi everyone. My name is Nura Ajana binti Abdul Rahim and I am from 1BTech section 2 group 2. So today I will present about on how to find the sample proportion. Before I proceed to show you guys the example, the first thing that we need to know on how to find the sample proportion is the formula. Behind me stands for sample proportion equal to the number of items that we are looking for, which is the successes, and divided by n, which is shown as total sample size. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you guys the 3-step strategy on how to find the sample proportion. So the first step, of course, you need to look for the total number or the total sample. Okay, so the tips I can give to find the total number or the total sample size, you need to find the keyword such as total in the question. Okay, for the next step, of course, you need to find the number of item, like the number of items. So to identify the number of item or x, you need to find the main focus in the question. Last but not least, to solve the question, you need to divide or calculate the number of item divided by the total sample size. Okay, in bracket, you need to convert to percentage for the answer if needed. Okay, so now we're going to proceed for the example question. For the first example, I will put it as education. Okay, so the question is, out of 200 students and 140 students use AI for assignment. Okay, so as you can see in my slides, there I include the calculation for this question, which is to find the sample proportion, we need to divide the 140 divided by 200. As I'm gentle reminder, 140 stands for the number of items, while 200 is stands for the total sample size. Proceed for the second example question. Okay, this question is about business funding. Okay, the question is, out of 80 startups applying for funds, only 12 startups qualified. Okay, in this question, I already put in the bracket where is the total sample size and where is the number of items. So the total sample size is 80 startups and while the number of items is 12 startups. So to solve this question, you can see the calculation in my slide behind me is sample proportion equal to 12 divided by 80. And for the answer, you will get in decimal form, which is 0.15, or if you want to change to percentage, you will get 50%.
And Sarab Setra. My name is Raja Muhammad bin Raja Zuhairi. My matrix number is B06251013. Today, I would like to present the one population proportion Z test. This is information given. We have the population proportion is 0.971 and the sample size is 400, while the number of success is 380. The sample proportion is 0.95. The first step is to calculate the standard error. Using the formula, standard error is the square root of population proportion multiplied by 1 minus population proportion divided by sample size. By substituting the given values, we get the square root of 0.971 multiplied by 1 minus 0.71 divided by 400, and the result is 0.0000705. After obtaining the standard error, we calculate the Z value using the formula Z equals sample proportion minus population proportion divided by the standard error that we got before. This is 0.0084. So the answer of the Z value is approximately negative 2.50. Next, we compare the Z value with the critical values at 5% significance level with negative 1.96 and positive 1.96. Since our calculated Z value is negative is 2.50, which is less than negative 1.96, is false within the rejection region. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis.
Good afternoon, doctor. My name is Lim Junyi. Matrix number is B0/2510028. Today, I will explain the decision and conclusion for the one population proportion test. For the decision rules is if Z calculated graded that Z table reject the net hypothesis. Here 2.47 graded that 1.9 says, so we reject H0. This is same as in the national rate of 97.1%. In my conclusion, there is sufficient evidence to conclude that the internet access rate in the rural district is significantly different from the national household internet access rate. In fact, the simple rate of 95% is lower than the national rate. So this is my presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, attention, and for watching our video. So see you next time. Bye bye.